Yay. What is up, people? Okay. Okay. So we're looking at a script today. What's up? Hey guys, I'm doing great. How about you? I don't know if you noticed, but I released like 3 videos today. So it's been kind of a busy one. Definitely really tired. But you know what? We got to be productive. We have to be productive. Yeah. What's up, everybody? Whoa. Yeah, I'm doing a voiceover. Oh my god, my spit made it worse. Oh my god, hey. What's up, TJ? Yeah, so I'm doing a recording for my newest video. Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay. So yeah, I'm not sure if you guys would like this show, but but I am let's see. Okay. So I am doing a voiceover. Okay. Oh my gosh! This is annoying. Okay, so you don't have permission. Oh, okay. Didn't realize I needed permission. Actually, yeah, I straightforward did. Okay, let's see here. So today I need to cover... Yeah, let's get some stuff done together. I love working at the same time. Early to Alive, welcome. Okay, so we are working on... Okay. Well, I'm kind of almost done that. I am going to do Unfabulous first. And then I have to do... If I have time, I'm going to do... See, like, this is the thing. I like to work, but it is work. Let's see. Grim Adventures, Billy Mandy, and then Nick 2004. If I have time to do Nick 2004, I'm going to do it. Okay. Dude, you guys should totally do stuff like this. But you know what? Find something that's really interesting to you that other people have not talked about yet. I have an issue where I keep talking about things people have talked about already, and I wish I could be better at that, you know? I'm going to take off this from the screen, however. Yeah. You should do a Drake and Josh episode called Josh is Done. I did the whole series. I don't really have time. Okay, so for Unfabulous. Oh! I did Pink Guitar. 9. Okay. Oh, the 66th day. Dang. Okay. So yeah, I'm doing... Here we go. Unfabulous time! It's fabulous to be unfabulous. Okay. So you guys aren't going to be able to see what I'm doing here, but you're going to have to trust me. I might have to mute it a little bit. Oh my gosh. Okay. Dude, you just begin by doing anything you find fun, and then next thing you know, you'll find ways to package it. Next thing you'll know, I mean, that sounds a little broad, but I'm somebody who likes to write down what I like to do, and next thing, when it's written down, it's like, oh, that's very clear what I want to do, you know? Okay. So I'm going to record this.
Hey, this is ridiculous. You're gonna have to see Jake and Patty together.
Oh, that is not the episode. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we got to see where I left off with this. Unfabulous episode 7.
It's a very vulnerable thing to work in a group with people that you have to critique and also having no adults helping you supervise this. Like, Addie doesn't know how to explain that she doesn't fit in with these girls. Like, they all like music, they all get along. Why are they not a part of the same clique?
Yeah, okay. I get it. Okay, oh, how do I put this? I have to put this comfortable because it's like I'm gonna do this for probably an hour. Like, how do I make it fun? Okay, here we go. Okay, so the next episode is the 66th day, and this is one of the big turning points for Unfabulous. I can't believe how good this show is at continuity. So the 66th day is the 66th day that Addie has known Jake Bahari. It starts off with this really funny Brady Bunch parody, and we get a glimpse into Addie's life as if she is... We get a glimpse in not only Addie's life, but a bunch of people at the school, like Maris and Cranberry. We see Randy Klein for a moment, which this guy's always talked about, always mentioned, never seen. And then Mario, who is Zach's basketball friend, also is in this. The funny bit is that it's everybody saying that what Addie's one decision had led to them... Sorry, guys. The whole premise of this episode is... Yo, what's up, Neil? Oh, gosh. I keep messing up. I get nervous. Okay. Okay. But yeah, this whole point is to see that Addie made a decision that somehow affects everybody in her community for the worst. It starts on such an ordinary day, day 65. Okay, now I have to recall this.
Raffle.
Thank you.
Excellent idea, Principal B. I can just picture it. Me as Gina's boss, making her...
I just forgot. It's true.
Day of after-school detention this week, or so I hear from a little birdie.
Hey, Addie, do you still have that fisherman bear you made at Gina's Create a Bear birthday party?
Captain Barrymore?
Yeah.
Captain
Sure.
Barrymore.
Thanks, Addie. I gotta go make some baby seals out of my own plate. I bet if I roll them under...
Yo, what is this over here?
Zach with his last film. Load the pollution.
At Gina's Create a Bear birthday party?
Slam my office tomorrow, 8 a.m. Student silence. This is a place of learning. Up for little birdie. Executive detention for prancing through my halls dressed like a backup dancer for P. Diddy.
Actually, Pete.
You know what's crazy? There's more than one reference to specifically P. Diddy in this show, which does not age super well. It's just funny to think that the writers were so involved in pop culture that they specifically referenced that guy. And it's the principal uses it as a way of describing Gina because she does not like what she wears. So she's essentially like, you're dressing up like P. Diddy's backup dancers, which is really inappropriate. I do not want to hear a critique like that on my clothes from my principal. Sorry. Dang. Yeah, this is hard. I usually take it like one scene at a time.
It was yesterday. Today's the 65th day that I've left Jake.
Can I borrow him? I need an Eagle Oil rig worker.
So the B plot is that Zach is making a movie, and apparently he's made movies in the past, like with Addie's dog Nancy, and it's really funny. They see a quick scene of them as Dracula. Oh, and it's really funny because we see Nancy dressed as Godzilla, which is crazy. Addie finishes another song about Jake Bahari, her big crush that we just cannot forget about because it's all that goes on in her life. She makes songs about him, that we know, but this time is when it actually gets complicated. Okay, let's
Yeah. Oh, Gina, help! I can't breathe.
What are you doing?
Zach, I need my CD. Here has one more announcement.
Actually, it's so cute.
Go. Ask him if he could borrow a couple.
We learn that Addie puts all of her love songs on one CD, and it's specifically 66 songs about Jake Bahari. She wrote a song every day since she liked him. And it's really, I want to say quirky and funny, but it's actually kind of scary and stalkery now that I'm looking back on it. I mean, I guess we didn't have social media, so instead of being stalkery, it's more like imagining what you could do to spend time with somebody. But I don't know, it's still hard to defend. So Addie accidentally lost her CD when she gave it to Zach, and apparently Zach gave it to somebody else. So Addie is on this mission to retrieve this tape she's got. She has like this fear that Maris and Cranberry probably found it and then went to the principal to play it over the loudspeaker, which is a fair assumption. It takes Addie all the way to the basketball game where she actually interrupts practice, which why are they practicing in the middle of a school day? Like, is that really fair? This can't be gym class. I like seeing Mario. He's one of my favorite side characters, probably because he was in Sunny with a Chance. And then on the side, and on the C plot, Gina is making up for her detention. In the meantime, Gina is actually making up for having ditched detention, and she ends up going to the principal's office and actually stealing her permanent records. It starts to make her insecure and realize that people are watching her a little too closely, which I would too. Then there's this whole bit where there's peer counseling at this school, and one of the girls is involved in it. One of the girls that runs it, it kind of reminds me of like a peer leader type extracurricular. I'm not sure if you guys had that, but it's like basically people that volunteer to show you around school, give you help and advice. And in this scenario, they make it a lot like a Catholic confessional, which is funny. Like, you have Randy Klein at the other end of this confessional, and it looks nuts. Then we start to see Addie actually get in people's way and hurt them in. So we actually understand why in the cold open they're all angry at her.
Gina, hey! Oh, hey, Carlotta. It's Dawn. Right, Dawn from gym class.
A girl comes up to Gina and says, "Hey, it's Carlita." Or a girl comes up to Gina and she's like, "Oh, it's Carlita." And then she's like, "It's Dawn, actually." And I'm like, how did you get the name that wrong? Addie chases down her CD all the way to the janitor. And Gina is just so insecure about her reputation. She is just trying to find a new identity that isn't so insecure. She learns pretty quickly, thanks to
I hate stop motion. It's so slow. By the time I finish this film,
Flashy.
I'll raffle to get to.
So while Gina is having like this whole identity crisis, she's also at the same time having to work with this kid on a raffle for the principal.
Make my own stuff. I was gonna say cute. Where'd you get it? Oh, appropriate. A desperate cry of help based on my low self-esteem.
Another dog sweater. I may go blind.
Get it? Oh, I made it.
Okay, look. I didn't want to say anything. People think it's cool you make your own clothes. I mean, not me. Others.
I wish I could make my own stuff. Why can't I be creative? Why? Mary Fairy, pure count.
What you mean? I hate stop motion. It's part of homemade
But yeah, so Gina is having this identity crisis where she is told she's insecure. Meanwhile, she's also hosting this raffle. What is that kid's name? Oh my gosh, who remembers the name of the kid in Unfabulous? This is going to kill me. Oh my god, I'm still recording. I hate this so much. It's so annoying when I cannot get this stuff right at first glance. Unfabulous. Who are the characters? Ben, Gina, Zach, Jake. Yep. Jeff, nope. Cranberry, yep. Okay. Eli. Okay. I'm just going to assume his name is Eli. Hopefully I'm not completely wrong about this. Okay. Let's see. We're jumping into Unfabulous. Hopefully I'm not wasting too much voiceover. While Gina is trying to figure out her identity, she gets this boost from Eli, which you expect to just be this suck up to the principal. He follows her around everywhere he goes, which is such a funny trope that I don't feel like I've seen in any kid show. Like this kid that is actually kind of borderline cool, but he's all around the principal all the time. The plots collide when they're doing the raffle, and it turns out the prize that Gina's giving away is the 66 songs that Addie found on tape. And who is the winner? Yeah, literally Jake Bahari. So this guy that she's fawning over this entire show, he's the one who gets this tape. Jake, I would go to the police if I got 66 songs based off specifically my name, especially the way Addie does it. It's kind of scary. She has this fantasy where he actually loves it and he wants to be with her because of it, which I feel like is kind of romantic. I do feel like that's a good turn of events for the stalker situation. And it's very sweet because it's like, oh, we're so happy that Addie actually is getting exactly what she wants, what we've established since the beginning of the show. But it really turns out to be an introduction to Jake Bahari's girlfriend. Yeah, so Jake Bahari has a girlfriend. We only find out now for the first time. I don't know how Addie didn't know. And I feel like that's not really fair for her. She made so many songs before she found out. Like in those 66 days, she couldn't have figured out that he had a girlfriend. Come on. But yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking. And the song she sings for it is really depressing. The entire episode ends on such a somber, depressing note. It's a really good song, though. She just sings You Will Never Love Me, and I hear that night. And then she sings You Will Never Love Me, and I gotta be honest, guys. Oh my god, his name is Freddie or Eli? What? And I gotta be honest, guys. I'm going to hear this dream in my nightmares. Okay, I'm moving on from that. Okay, so the next episode is called The B Word. And I don't know if... I'm sure we're all thinking the same... Oh, I think we're all thinking the same thing here. With an episode called The B Word, how in the world would it not be the curse word? You know, like... You could have used anything. You should have used like the L word or... Oh, wait, actually that already is an existing thing. The point is, this episode's called The B Word. Sounds inappropriate because obviously that's a curse word. And we learn pretty quickly that it's a lot more about girl code. And the B word is boyfriend. Yeah. So this is an interesting episode because we don't see Gina with a boyfriend until now.
What are you doing? Addie? No way.
The cold open is a lot more about establishing Gina and Addie's friendship, and it's actually kind of beautiful how well communicative they are, how much they're willing to call each other, and how close they are. Like, it takes a lot of work to sustain and care about a person like that. So it definitely keeps me on their side. I like seeing Gina and Addie getting along, which is why this episode gets so dire so quickly. Because Addie lets us know that they end up in a fight. So let's figure out how that happens.
Turn up for the basketball tournament this Saturday. She's gonna see us kick some serious butt. I heard that. You ready for practice? Yeah.
Gina, I got your text. Where have you been? I was ready to send out a search party for you. Sorry I've been flaking so hard lately, but I kind of met somebody.
That has been rated.
The episode starts pretty quickly with, right after the cold open, Addie's like, "Where have you been, Gina?" And she says she's been flaky because she has a boyfriend. And Addie's like, this is a big deal. She's never had a boyfriend. She's had crushes. She's had relationships, but not like a full-on boyfriend. And she is panicking. The fantasy of her being with a bunch of different guys is so funny to me. I like that they actually treat this like it's normal. Like, you don't look down on a girl for having so many communication with so many different guys. Like, I feel like that could easily be strung in the wrong direction, but it's fair. It's like you're in middle school. You're just trying to find yourself, you know? Addie is like freaking out, and Gina's whole thing this episode is like, you're going to meet him, but just don't freak out. And she doesn't tell him who this guy is. I'm like, come on, let me know who he is. She hypes it up so much because she's building up so much tension for Addie, because just constantly not telling her who the boy is, but telling her she's going to freak out, that is not fair. That's like telling middle school me to not have anxiety, but in the middle of class, somebody asks me what I'm wearing. What? That joke didn't make any sense. That's like asking me not to have anxiety when I'm walking through the halls in middle school. Is that dark? That's dark. Keep it, though. So Addie ends up meeting this guy, and she does not like who it is. And his name's Chad. I don't know if you guys remember Chad. He was in the other episode. Basically, when Addie and Gina went to the point, this guy took them there and ditched them, and his name was Chad, and now she's dating him. Which, for me, yeah, ditching me at the point is definitely a romantic gesture. I would start dating anybody who did that. That's sarcasm, by the way, guys. I think that's a really weird character to connect us to. Addie does not think it's him at first, and then realizes quickly that it is. And this whole episode is kind of about her maintaining trust with Gina. And Gina keeps bringing up girl code and all these rules that they kind of have implied because they're both girls. And that's an interesting concept. I feel like we do kind of view it like, I feel like at the time we took things that seriously, but it does bother me that everybody's like, no, we all know what this is. We all know the rules. It's like, no, you have to talk about it. You have to have conversations. You have to talk about your expectations. Like, that's just, you can't just assume that of other people. In the B plot, it's actually kind of interesting. The coach is apparently getting therapy and has to do charity work. So he makes Zach and the rest of the crew be in wheelchairs to do a tournament for the disabled. To do a tournament with the disabled. And everybody on the team is like, why would we have to do that? And it's all because of this one coach's insecurity, which I kind of find funny. Like, why is it brought to that level? That is so inappropriate. And this coach has a really sad life. Like, every time he talks about his personal life, it seems really depressing. It's cool because this plot has been done before, and it's so specific. Like, to have wheelchair basketball be the plot of 2 central teen shows, like Sweet Life of Zach and Cody did this, and they also touched upon the concept of looking at people differently because they have a different circumstance than you. And in this case, it's people that don't have the ability to walk anymore. And Zach is going to have to sit in their shoes, literally. Did I just make that up? I think I did. This team ends up being like a bunch of jerks that really don't hold back. And the coach is essentially like, treat them nice, like treat them well because they are in a wheelchair. Like they need to be treated like that. And Zach is essentially like, okay, but they're kind of disrespectful to us. So what do I do? Then we go back to Addie. And her and Gina are on kind of rocky waters because Gina knows that she doesn't like him. Addie calls her to apologize, and they make up pretty quickly, which is really sweet. Like, I feel like from this scene on, they do manage to keep a important connection. From this moment on, they do maintain their friendship, and I find that sweet. Like, you could have just had them not be friends the whole episode, but they actually come back together pretty quickly. Addie learns that the guy Gina's dating just happens to have a reputation for dating 5 girls at once, which how in the world does he get away with that? 5 girls at once? Like, do they go to all different schools? I just don't understand how that can possibly work. We get a lot of cutaway fantasies with Addie trying to understand where Gina is coming from. Like, she's so focused on trying to protect Gina's feelings, not disapprove of Chad, and their whole relationship is on the line because of it. I like that they keep going to her fantasy where it's like her in this like office and she's looking for the file of girl code to try to understand it. It's nice that we have like a main character that is insecure that she doesn't understand the rules and the complications that it, because for me, and the complications it comes with, for me, social rules are a big construct. So the fact that there's a show that's like delving into something like this is pretty cool. I like seeing Addie struggle with this. I definitely relate to her as my own mind is an office and so many people are not being promoted. Oh my God, can you imagine? But yeah, it's a cute way to kind of highlight the anxieties that you would have in middle school. Zach ends up winning the basketball tournament, and the coach is furious, basically being like, why didn't you just let them win? Which is like, coach, you didn't tell us we should do that. Everybody in this episode has an expectation that is not communicated verbally, and they just expect the other person to know. Come on. At least Gina is very patient with it, though. Addie tries sincerely to like Chad, but obviously it's hard. It's hard when you hear rumors about him. She confronts Gina about it because she's like, I would want somebody to do this to me, so please do it. So please let me tell you this, which I really admire. Like, it's really hard to come clean to your friend about something really honest that's going on in your life, or something honest you think about their life that you want to express concern for, you know? And the idea of having your best friend start dating somebody else and then seeing them less and less is a very real thing, especially in middle school. Like, you always have to juggle with priorities because it's the first year you probably get to have control over your priorities, to be able to say, I want to spend my time with my boyfriend, my friends. And Gina makes a sincere effort to have this happen. Because when Addie comes to her with the truth, she tells her straight up, like, thank you so much for caring and listening to me. And Addie and her end up on such a stronger note than they even were at the beginning of the episode, despite the episode being called the B word. I was worried that somebody called somebody the B word and that's what the episode would be about. But I'm glad it's not like that. I am still surprised the wheelchair basketball was so commonplace. Like, was everybody doing that at that age? It's not that it's rare, but it is like specifically scripted, you know, like, why are we scripting it? Okay.
You plan on playing any hoops, or are you just gonna stick to Demolition Derby? Who are you supposed to be? We're supposed to be Rolling Thunder, the #2 ranked youth wheelchair team in the country. We're the guys who are gonna smoke your sorry butts tomorrow.
Oh, wait. Oh, but the end of the basketball plot line is that the team actually respects Zach and his crew a lot more because of the fact they went hard on him. Everybody apparently has let their team win before because they saw that they're disabled and are tired of that. That's honestly probably why he is so disrespectful during the game, because he's like, if everybody's just going to keep being nice to me, I'm just going to retort back with anger. And Zach kind of sees that, and he treats him like everybody else, which is the moral of the story. Like, treat everybody equally, and you will get the same amount of respect back. So I really like the message in this. I like that the whole episode themes around miscommunications, expectations, social rules, like, they have such a unique point of view when they're expressing this on Unfabulous. So then we get to episode 11, and it's called The Little Sister. This trope, I feel like, is pretty overdone, but when I watched it, I was like, yeah, I guess I can't think of the last show I remember that covered this. Like, it's called The Little Sister, and it's pretty much about Addie living in Ben's shadow. You guys know Ben. He is the brother of Addie, and apparently in this show, he is a super big overachiever. Everybody knows who he is. He's in every part of the yearbook. And Addie is just known as that guy's sister. It's a very real thing to be compared to a sibling, especially if you go to the same school. Being compared to one another, it's like, it sucks because it's like you really want your personality to stand out. I only imagine how twins have an issue with that too, like trying to figure out what makes you unique and kind of standing by that in the long run. That's kind of what I'm like seeing through this episode. And it's nice to relate to Addie in the sense that it's like not being noticed and like how that drives you to insist on making a change for yourself. And I've never seen her so angry than I did in this episode. Like, it's like her family life bleeds into her school life, when it's usually her school life is taking her on adventures outside of school. We really get the perspective of a little sister feeling like she's living in the shadow of her brother, and she's like singing about it on the guitar, strumming hard, and screaming about her misfortune with this. It's cool that it's about Ben, but he doesn't have like a major role in it. It's more about Addie's issue with herself trying to stand up with Ben, because all the conversation trying to stand up on her own without Ben. And it's interesting because every time they have a conversation, it doesn't really push the action, but seeing him react to her, like he's definitely trying to care, you know? Usually an older brother is disrespectful, he's teasing, but this is an older brother that kind of cares, you know, like he feels bad for her when he finds out that she didn't win class president. Oh, that's another thing. She's trying to be class president just to be up to par with her brother. And she doesn't make it because she's not her brother. Obviously, she's trying to figure out what to do about it. But more on him. I feel like it's nice to have an older brother that is more caring. So Addie's first instinct is to try to find a new hobby that he has not done before. One of those is the school paper. All while this is going on, the principal has lost her favorite sweatshirt and is questioning every student in the building. With Eli right by her side, they're trying to figure out how her jacket got away. She's so dramatic too, like seeing her like scream to the heavens because she doesn't have a jacket. Like, come on. She makes everybody in school empty their lockers to find it. And usually that would be like a drug raid thing. That would be like somebody in the school is loaded with dangerous items. So we have to scour every locker. And it's cool because it becomes more of like an advocate type situation where Addie looks at this as like her mistreating the students. She writes an article about the principal's relation. She writes an article about the principal unfairly using her power to try to torture these kids. And it's true, that is kind of what they're doing. The head of the paper, which is the nerdy girl who's dating the nerdy guy. I kind of don't remember their names at this moment. What's up? Hey. I'm doing a voiceover right now. Oh, and they say they can't run Addie's. So the head of the newspaper loves Addie's story, and she's finally excited. Like, she put all of her hard work into that. But this girl's like, no, we can't publish this. Everything gets approved through the teacher, through the principal. Why would we out her like that? Which is totally fair. She ends up going in and replacing. Addie ends up sneaking into the newspaper. Addie ends up Addie ends up sneaking into the newspaper room just to put her article back in the paper, which is a baller move. The principal is not having it, though. She calls her into the office, and she is threatening expulsion for her. Eli is trying to get her to go easy on it, and it's very clear that Eli is the one who took the sweatshirt. Oh my gosh. So this guy following around the principal the whole time is actually a backstabber. Interesting. I do think it's like sweet the reason he hid it from her. Apparently it's for her own health, and dude, you should be going to class more often. The end of the episode has Addie actually getting recognition for her hard work, which is very thoughtful. And then by the end, somebody goes up to Ben and is like, aren't you Addie Singer's older brother? Giving his identity an issue. And he's like, oh, I worked so hard to get this reputation. Well, you know, he doesn't sound like that, but you'd get what I'm saying. The thing I really like about this whole principal interaction is like I had this exact one-on-one with my principal in high school. I created this show called Producing Problems, and it was about the video production program and like kind of how we broke the rules using the rules of video production. And it was way before content creation and it was more like in the era where we were just where it was more in the era where you take a camera and you record video. You don't just have a phone and you don't just have your phone and create skits. Like we did have phones and we did create skits, but like it was more so a career path if you were willing to do it. And when the first season of Producing Problems actually like aired weekly at our school, and kids would tune in every Friday morning to watch a new episode. We had about 10 the first year, and I wrote them, and they were funny. When it came time to do the second season, and I was in my junior year, I wanted to do that again. I wanted to put on a new episode of Producing Problems every Friday for the whole second season. But the new principal we had at the time thought my show was inappropriate, wrong, and that we were essentially trashing the school because of the plots we were using. Which is weird because it was like kind of like anti-bullying. The show couldn't curse. Everything had to be approved by like one teacher or two teachers. Like it had to be approved in order to even be filmed. It was a school educational setting. So like my jokes were pretty tame, and I don't really think I could have put out something that was inappropriate. But yeah, she took offense to it. We had like a school. We had a back to school night, and she had the teachers actually scrub the whole school of this show, said not to promote it, not to put it out anywhere. And I was definitely like in Addie's position where I was very much like, oh, I need to stand up for myself. I need to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Yeah, that I want to say I overcame that, but I didn't. Sometimes you just get told that sometimes you just get given a restriction that doesn't necessarily make sense to you, but you kind of have to learn to deal with it. And especially in middle school, like when you're growing up, you have to learn to accept those limitations and that you can't always get what you want just because you work really hard for it, which is a really sad fact of life. But I've learned that like sometimes you just got to work harder to find something that does work. Whatever. Yeah, anyway, that was a long tangent, but let's move on to the next episode. Season 1, Episode 12, The Partner. And this one is really surprising because I did not expect an Addie and Zach episode. Like, Zach has always been on this show. He's been proven to be, like, the quirky character that kind of has the one-off jokes. He's a part of the basketball team. And he has a little bit of a selfish side. He tends to act, like, out of the need for himself sometimes, and that's kind of what happens in this episode. The whole premise is that they're going to have a science fair, and Addie is worried because she's a jinx. Every time they had the science fair, she had somehow messed up really bad. Like one of her projects caught on fire, one of them like melted, and it's just it's giving me like iCarly vibes in the sense that remember when every time Spencer would have like an experiment, it would just get caught on fire spontaneously. Like that is so funny to me because just the fact that it's getting caught on fire every time, like it makes me want that to happen in this episode. Like I wish the same thing happened to Addie. There's a shot right before the opening number where everybody runs away from Addie, and it's very clearly put in reverse. I love it when you get to notice things like that in kids' cartoons. Or I like when you notice stuff like that in teen sitcoms. Like, they definitely did a lot of camera tricks, and I was too young to realize what it was. But it's almost like what I was doing at that age. You know, like you find a camera trick and make it work. But yeah, nobody wants to be friends with Addie, but she doesn't want to fail. Nobody wants to be partners with Addie, but she is going to fail the science fair. I didn't realize people took science projects this seriously in middle school. Like, if my friend wanted to be my partner, I would do it. I don't know why everybody's so insistent on winning this. We get another reference to Randy Klein getting hurt and not being able to be Zach's partner anymore. So Zach was the one person that... So Zach is the only person that Addie could be partners with. And he's using excuse by excuse to not be her partner. Meanwhile, the nerds, who are this really cute couple... Meanwhile, we have this nerd couple that come back constantly, and they're really funny and eccentric. Not like a stereotypical nerd. They're like confident, and they're definitely like really confident with each other. And like have their status at school. And this kid is basically like, you should love the person you enter the science fair with. And it's like, what? This is too serious. So yeah, Addie spends most of the episode trying to convince her friend Zach to be on her team. Like, hey, like, this is just a science fair. Please be on my team. And he just keeps denying it. Are we really friends? He ends up ditching her for Marco. He ends up ditching her for Mario, you know, the kid on her basketball team. And the principal runs over Addie's foot in this section, which is kind of disrespectful. Like, I thought the principal was, like, at least... Sometimes you think that, like, the principal has a nice side, but she doesn't really do anything for the benefit of the students, and it's kind of annoying because she's more comedic relief, and I don't feel like any principal in this scenario would still have their job if they were doing things like that. So the nerd couple actually breaks up because of scientific disagreements, which leaves Addie an opportunity to actually have a partner. So she gets this guy as her partner. She really needs to win the science fair now. And he's like, yeah, I could definitely help you win. But really, he's just using her to get his girlfriend jealous. And it's so funny. We see a moment of Jake Bahari and his girlfriend getting their project together. And they are just such a bad couple. Her and Addie and Jake have a little bit of a moment together, but we've kind of put him on the sidelines. Like, a lot of these plots didn't need to have to do with him since the 66th day, which is also why that plot was so vital to everything. I don't know why Gina is also dodging being her friend. Like, she could also be her partner. After a while, Mario ends up walking out on Zach for a science fair project, and suddenly feel bad for Zach because... Suddenly, we don't feel bad for Zach because he's about to get his comeuppance. Like, he treated Addie kind of rude for not wanting to be her partner, and then suddenly he's ditched. Yeah, I'm not feeling bad. But then Addie gets screwed again when the nerd couple gets back together and she is left with nothing. She notices that Zach is in danger and actually needs help with the science project. And instead of kind of like showing off and being like, screw you for not being my partner, she ends up standing in and helping him with his project, which is actually kind of sweet. Like, she didn't need to do that. That was definitely a good character growth moment where Zach mistreated her the whole episode. She showed him an act of kindness, and it kind of ended up being a little bit bittersweet, and their friendship is actually stronger because of it. And I like it when they have like male and female relationships in middle school that aren't necessarily based on relationship or anything. Like, they're two friends genuinely trying to be there for each other. And unlike her relationship with Gina, this needs a lot more work, because to understand one another, being different genders, different races, like, it's a lot more work to understand one another. It's a lot more work. It's a lot of work. So you need to work a little bit harder to kind of connect with these people. And you need to work a little bit harder to make a connection with people like this. Ugh. In order to make a connection with people, like, you have to do a considerable amount of effort to understand them. The further you are from them, like gender, sex, culture, like, you have to work a little bit harder to understand. And I feel like they definitely do that in this episode with the common ground that, like, it's the science fair. They both have the same goal of wanting to do a good job. And even though Zach kind of ditches her, she's willing to put a little bit more effort so that they understand each other. The B plot in this isn't super interesting. It's like all about the dad giving the mom her birthday present. So the dad apparently is a horrible gift giver. So he gets Addie's mom this really ugly fish-shaped cookie jar. It definitely gives me the vibes of the Hannah Montana episode where Miley got a really ugly sweatshirt from her dad, but had to make it look like it was cool. Yeah, so the mom is trying to make it look like this present is not super embarrassing. We get a little bit of flashbacks when we see other gifts she's gotten from him, and it's really funny. This episode doesn't have... Oh, yeah, sorry. The mom genuinely tries to get rid of it, and it's like, come on, you're an adult. You're an adult. You're not supposed to just... It just shows that even adults, like, care about sparing each other's feelings sometimes. It reminds me of that one episode where Addie got mad at people for telling a white lie, when really it's like, that happens all the time in daily life. I like that we got a scene with Jake Bahari, which is kind of cool. We're definitely working towards something here. And everything comes to a final head when we get to episode 13, the bar mitzvah. Oh, so yeah, season finale of Unfabulous is called the bar mitzvah. And a lot more happens in this episode than I ever could have predicted. Like, we introduced a lot of fun topics, like Addie's relationship with Jake Bahari. We have Gina's relationship with Chad. And then we have Zach trying to just, I don't know, do whatever it is Zach does. He doesn't have that much of a plot. And all of that kind of gets addressed in this episode. It's actually talking a lot about Randy Klein, the guy who keeps getting into multiple accidents, the guy who's mentioned a lot but not ever seen. It kind of reminds me of Degrassi, The Next Generation. If you guys seen that show, they talk a lot about Heather Sinclair. It's this character that we never see because she's so popular that she doesn't even come into lives of the main characters. Yeah, that's kind of what that is. That's kind of who Randy Klein is for this. In this episode, we see the cold open. In the episode, we start the cold open with Randy Klein's bar mitzvah. It's this really big event that's going to culminate in life-changing events, and I am hooked immediately. I know this episode's going to be intense because we have Addie and Gina stuck in the bathroom for the whole thing, and it's more of like a how did we get here situation. The whole episode is about Addie getting braces for the first time, which is something super relevant for a middle schooler. Like, I feel like most of us had to do that at some point. I didn't, and that's why my teeth are kind of messed up, but you know, whatever. If your parents can afford it, you have to get braces. Sorry. It's a very genuine insecurity when you have to go into school with your entire physical image altered a lot. Like, it gives you a lot of identity issues. You don't want to be seen as the person with braces if you never had them before. Even though that I know these concerns seem very surface, and it's very much like, well, obviously just care and love yourself. It's like, but that's something people worried about. You know, like, I gave myself a bad haircut once and I thought I was going to die going to school the next day. My hair is half my identity. Okay, guys? Is anybody in the chat? I feel like nobody's watching this right now. Yeah, Addie has horrible fantasies about what people are going to do or treat her like once she gets these braces. And it kind of comes true. Like, she gets them and then suddenly she doesn't want to go out anymore. She doesn't want to see anybody. And it's kind of depressing. Gina wants her to come with her to Randy Klein's party, but she doesn't want to because she will literally be so embarrassed. Ben is apparently going to be working this party, which I thought was kind of weird. And we talk about the theme of the party constantly. It's a bar mitzvah that is themed like... It is a bar mitzvah themed around Indiana Jones, which who could have predicted that? I did not think that would happen. The parents have to go too because they like Randy Klein's parents and sold him a house, so they have to save face. And meanwhile, Addie is stuck going to this party in the most embarrassing form she could ever have taken. Like, she is so insecure right now, so the fact that she has to go to this huge party is kind of a big deal. It definitely reminds me of the pilot when she also attended a party, and you just show the stakes are so much higher when you're in middle school. Like, your image really does matter. You do not have a lot of stuff to yourself. So I would be concerned if I were Addie too. You know what? We get a twist of fate when Gina is actually broken up with by Chad. Yeah, Addie was right, Gina. She told you. But, you know, you don't tell your friend you told you so. You don't tell your friend you told them so. You like to let them go through their own things and just be a body to... And you just try to be there to support them. Like, I feel like that's the way you have a true friendship. And Addie kept her boundary with her. Like, she allowed Gina to learn on her own that this guy was not right for her and supported her up until that point. And that's really important. Like, I don't care if you're in middle school, elementary school, it's important to not step into somebody's life and tell them what to do or how to go about it, but sit there empathetically, and actually, like, let them go through the mistakes if it's a mistake at all. Like, trust somebody can have control over their own life. So yeah, Gina locks herself in the bathroom, and we get a surprising twist of fate where suddenly she doesn't want to be seen by anybody. So her and Addie are kind of on the same page. We see exactly where they were from the cold open. They are trapped at Randy Klein's party in this bathroom, and they've yet to see anybody at the party. Everybody's here too. The nerds dating. We get Jake Bahari and his girlfriend, and they break up. Yeah, isn't that insane? So many breakups are happening at this party. Not only is it Gina and Chad, but then it's Jake and his girlfriend. And the twisted thing is that Addie doesn't know that Jake and his girlfriend broke up. Jake actually gets advice from Zach once he goes through the breakup, and he's essentially like, I think I like Addie. And at first I was like, okay, dude, you can't just break up with your girlfriend because you like another girl. Like, that's not cool. But then, like, I think it was, like, very clear since he found those 66 songs from her that he actually did start thinking about her that way, started to doubt his own relationship, and he kind of hints at that. And I feel like it is fair. Like, he's not really betraying her. He quote unquote said that he left the relationship because he felt like he was thinking about somebody else too much, which is a genuine thing to do. So Jake so far is not too much of a jerk, but he is out of a relationship. And we as the audience know that, but Addie doesn't. And that's when things get really twisted, because at the bar mitzvah, Randy Klein asks Addie to dance. Of course, Addie knows that Jake is probably in a relationship, so why in the world would she not say yes? And Randy Klein is kind of a nice kid. Like, it's his party. He seems to have a lot going for him, so it's not like... He's pretty hyped up a lot of the time. So, like, even though we don't know who he is, we definitely have the vibe that he is a popular kid, that his opinion matters. So it is a big deal when he asks Addie to dance. It kind of boosts her confidence, because having just gotten these braces, being more insecure, like, a lot of stuff is not working out for her. So the fact that she's actually able... So the fact that, like, he notices her is really thoughtful. And then we see her and him dance for the rest of the episode. And we as the audience are very stressed because we know that Jake just left his relationship in hopes for being with Addie. And suddenly we got this big teenage drama that's way better than Zoe 101. Yeah, I said it. Quote me on it. First season of... crap. Gina gets asked by another guy to dance, and I guess that just solves her problems. And the whole season ends with this. And the whole season ends on this note. And I'm floored. I think the season did such a good job at setting up all these complicated relationships and ended the season with the relationships being even more complicated. Like, they do a good job at, like, Degrassi level of drama, but kind of bring it back to be grounded in a way middle school would be. Addie is such an admirable main character. Not only does she express her emotions through song, but she's, like, really caring about her friends. Her friends care about her. There's a lot of, like, really important things going on in her life that you really want to vouch for. I didn't get to talk a lot about Ben's relationship. Like, Ben, her older brother, spends a lot of time in the B plots fawning over this girl that moved to, he fawns over this girl that moved to California, and they're slowly drifting apart throughout the show. And it's kind of sweet because it's like, it gives us a little it definitely gives the vibe of, like, long distance relationship. And you actually feel bad for Ben because he is somebody who genuinely tries in life and he's succeeded a lot. So the fact that, like, he's holding on pretty loyally to this girl that he doesn't know what's going on with. Right when he decides that he's, like, ready to break up with her, that things might not be working out, you kind of feel, I don't know, you kind of feel really bad for him, especially since she breaks up with him first. Like, it's like right when he decides he's going to break up with her, she beats him to it. She gives him back her sweatshirt and is like, sorry, this is just not going to work out. And even though he, like, kind of moves on pretty quickly, has crushes on other girls by the end of the first season, it did kind of put us in a warm mind toward him because he clearly cares. He clearly is a good character that makes good decisions. And even though he sometimes can be, like, teasing, it's not like he's Derek from Life with Derek. Like, he is a genuine older brother. And then so Addie's relationship with her older brother, her relationship with Gina, her relationship with Zach, everything is tested constantly, and she always seems to come out on top of doing the right thing. If sometimes she might, like, sometimes she might stumble and make a decision based on reputation or something for Jake, but for the most part, like, her heart is in the right spot. And sometimes it's her against Jake, and I feel like most of the plots are her against everybody. I feel like a lot of the plots are, like, her against middle school. Like, as opposed to Ned's Declassified that, like, doubles down on being only about middle school, Unfabulous adds an extra layer with her home life and everything she specifically is going through. It feels like a more in-depth and carefully written version of Ned's Declassified. And I would definitely advise you guys to take a look at this show one more time because it is definitely a hidden gem. Like, the things they talk about are really topical, worth remembering, and they hit us in the heart with Addie's 66th day song. So I don't know, guys. I would check it out if I were you. I'm really happy to have jumped back into this one, seeing the picture, the party, the secret, the book club, the pal, the pink guitar, the reputation, the list of kissed. Oh my gosh, I ditched the list of kissed episode. Okay, I'll put it in separately. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Johnny2000, and if there's anything I missed or anything you really liked about this series that you think I haven't covered, please let me know down in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate you guys and your efforts putting toward this channel. Thank you so much for letting me post as much as I want. I swear I don't mean to oversaturate this YouTube, but I'm just having so much fun making as many videos as fast as possible. And it seems like I'm rushing, but really, I just like spending 6 hours a day talking about teen shows. I'm sorry, I just have a lot to reflect on and a lot to learn going into my own adulthood that I feel like it's really enriching my life to take these lessons that Addie Singer had learned. Like, it's important for me and it's beneficial to my quality of life. So it's just fun to do. So thank you guys so much for your support, and I will see you guys next time. Okay. So that was, I need to take a break. I always do this. Like, I set out to write like 5. I set out to do like 5 videos. Nothing. Recording. See, like, okay, everything I just did on this stream, this is going to be me being dramatic for a second. Notice how I just took an hour to record a voiceover of about half a season of Unfabulous. Everybody out there is insisting that I don't write my own videos, or I'm doing some form of AI. I use AI to get my descriptions sometimes, and I use it to like help me organize my notes in a way that kind of makes sense to me. But I've never really used it for the majority of a video before. Usually I just set myself up like I did today to just go through the entire season of a show I just watched, and I kind of riff for a little bit because that's how I feel the most authentic, and that's how I feel people want to actually have their videos be watched. Like, you don't want to just sit there and be told something. You want to engage in a conversation. That's why podcasts are doing so well right now. And I like making mistakes. I like doing voiceovers that are inherently flawed because of the fact that it's just me connecting with you. Like, tell me I'm wrong. Like, that's okay. I'm having a good time doing this. YouTube isn't about being perfect. It's about expressing yourself and kind of things that are important to you. So let me just put out a couple of essays as quickly as I want to talk about the things that I'm learning in my life because of these teenage shows. Okay. Yeah, so give me a break. That's my message. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, thank you guys for keeping me company when I did this voiceover. I feel like it's really annoying to do all this. But it's nice when I have a little bit of company. I definitely missed the list of kissed. Yeah. Oof. Okay, let me... See, this is annoying. Sometimes I will forget an entire episode of a season, and then I'll have to go over it again. Okay. Unfab eps. We got 8, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, next we have episode 9. It's called The List of Kissed. And this episode is definitely taking me back to a part of middle school I really didn't like. Like, the thing about middle school is there's these expectations of like what you should. This is like a big theme over the whole show, is that like your relationships kind of define what's going on in your life. Like how far you've gone with your friends, with like how far, oh my God. Everything matters in middle school. Like the relationships you're in, the things, the extracurriculars you're attending. And Addie Singer is no special case. In the cold open, we literally see Addie wish that Jake Bahari and his girlfriend would break up, because we just had a whole episode of her confessing her love, potentially getting a response from Jake that shows that he likes her back, but they can't be together because he's in a relationship. Yeah. And the list of kiss ends up going over some of the biggest pressures that you face in middle school, the expectations you put on yourself that you have between you and other people about what you should be doing at what age. Addie has yet to have her first kiss, and she just found out that Jake Bahari is a girlfriend, so she's like, wow, maybe I'll never get a first kiss. So she starts to like not take it super seriously, ends up getting a crush, or what she ends up trying to make. There's a list of, oh my gosh. So yeah, everybody's talking about how they had their first kiss. And even this 10-year-old girl that's attending their school is like, yeah, Addie, I had my first kiss. And so she's essentially like, everybody had their first kiss except for me. And it's definitely something we all struggled with. Like, you don't want to be the last person to do something. But Addie is so focused on trying to get on the list of kissed just for the sake of being on it. And it definitely sets the expectations up. Like, society will make you believe that you need to do a certain thing because of the fact everybody around you is doing it, that it came naturally to everybody but you. So you naturally try to force a situation onto yourself. Addie convinces herself that she might, or potentially like Eli. Therefore, she's like, okay, I'll just kiss him. So she, after a bunch of trial and error and like deciding who she thinks she should kiss, she ends up going on a date with Eli. Everybody else ends up kissing, and she is essentially feeling a lot of pressure. Eli seems to have a crush on her, and she's very well aware that she just wants to be with Eli to get her first kiss. And it's kind of depressing. Like, I don't know if I ever had a relationship where I was like, no, I just want to have the relationship just to have one. But she's kind of doing that in this episode. She's almost falling out after realizing that the guy she's liked so long is with somebody else. So she's like, okay, I have to settle. She doesn't realize her self-worth here. And we all do it at that age. Isn't that crazy that we were just so insecure to do all that at that time? Even so, yeah. The most fun I've had in this episode, though, is when Eli walks Addie home and then does a whole dance number confessing his love for her. And it's really sweet because it's like they don't give him auto-tune. They just genuinely have this kid sing, and it's coming from the heart. Addie realizes how wrong it is to just be with somebody just to go through the motions or to get a kiss. And Eli admits that he didn't like her that way either. It's just two kids sharing a genuine connection with each other. You don't have to be in a relationship. Sometimes you just want to get to know somebody. And these two are not compatible in a relationship. I'm glad that both of them kind of come to terms with that. And there's no forced anything with them. Oh my gosh, no. Oh, I almost had a panic attack because sometimes like my phone will die and I'll do a whole voiceover without having realized that I was doing it, that I was just recording. But yeah, inevitably they don't end up together, and that's good because Addie didn't want it in the first place. She was just trying to get herself to want it. And Gina wasn't super helpful in this episode. She definitely made her think that she had to have this. We get this whole motif of like a fairy tale ending, which is exactly the kind of fantasy that this thing is the victim of, with this storybook that opens and closes at the beginning and end of the episode. It's actually kind of sweet. Seeing where Addie just left off in the 66th day is kind of sad, like singing You Will Never Love Me and then trying to figure out her identity outside of a relationship. It's a really cool character development moment for her. And seeing how she comes into her own is very sweet. Yeah, see, I did such a bad job with butchering episode 9 of Unfabulous, and I feel so bad for my editor. I'm gonna try to leave a really detailed note of like, hey, like I messed this up. B plot of episode 9 and end. Outro. Unfabulous episode 9 without B plot. Dang, okay. So this is the part where I'm like a little conflicted. I don't know what to call this video, like my whole retrospective on Unfabulous. Oh well, I'll work on the intro later. Thank you guys for watching my live. I had a lot of fun doing all my work in front of you. Appreciate your guys' time. Definitely tune in again next time I go live or check out some of my videos. And thank you guys so much for just working alongside me. I think we did a lot for an hour of time. And I can't wait to see you guys the next time I have to do an hour of work. Okay, guys, have a great night. Thank you, TJ, for enjoying. I had a great time hanging out with you guys.